I woke up in a cold sweat, the remnants of a nightmare clinging to my consciousness. It was a recurring dream, one that had plagued me since I was a child. In the darkness of my room, I tried to shake off the lingering unease, but something felt different this time. There was a heaviness in the air, a palpable sense of foreboding. As I lay there, my mind drifted back to that fateful day when my life changed forever. I was 12, riding my bike along the quiet suburban streets when a drunk driver careened into me. The impact was brutal, splitting my head open and shattering bones throughout my body. For 4 days, I teetered on the edge of life and death, trapped in a realm between the living and the departed. During those agonizing days, I could faintly hear my parents' tearful goodbyes, their voices filled with regret and sorrow. But I wasn't truly present with them. I was somewhere else, in the in-between. It was a desolate and formless place, shrouded in an impenetrable darkness and bone-chilling cold. Time seemed to stretch infinitely, and the only company I had was the deafening silence. And then, in that eerie void, I heard him, the voice that would haunt my thoughts for years to come. "My child is lost," he whispered, his words both soothing and unsettling. When I finally emerged from the clutches of death, my eyes fluttered open to the sterile hospital room, tears streaming down my mother's face. I tried to communicate, to convey the profound experience I had endured, but the words failed me. All I could manage were fragmented whispers of, "He's real," a desperate attempt to convey the truth that had consumed me. From that moment on, my faith was unwavering. While my peers embarked on their academic journeys, exploring religious studies from an intellectual standpoint, I knew deep within my soul that there was a God. It didn't matter which religious doctrine was correct. What mattered was the certainty that the divine presence existed, for I had walked in his kingdom and returned. Years later, as I sat in a lecture hall for my religious studies degree, my mind was filled with conviction. I had chosen a controversial dissertation topic, proving that God is real. My professor, Professor Alcott, expressed his concerns, explaining that faith couldn't be subjected to empirical proof. But I was resolute. I would provide evidence, more than mere personal anecdotes. I had a chance to make my truth known. With a newfound passion, I delved into my research, exploring different religious beliefs and their historical foundations. But it wasn't until I stumbled upon a peculiar connection that everything fell into place. Mold, a seemingly innocuous presence in my life, held the key to my revelation. Mold, like fungus, thrived in darkness and moisture. It was everywhere, lurking unseen in the very air we breathe. The in-between, the dark realm I had experienced, had been saturated with dampness, and so I formulated a hypothesis. Could mold, this ubiquitous fungus, be the physical manifestation of a divine presence? I embarked on a bold experiment, collecting samples of mold and nurturing them in a mason jar. I spoke to them, silently pleading for a sign, for undeniable proof. And then, it happened. The jar shattered, releasing an otherworldly presence. The mold spread across my desk, its tendrils reaching out like a grotesque hand. I was paralyzed by both fear and awe, unable to bring myself to clean it up. Days turned into nights as I observed the mold's growth, documenting its progress in my notebook. But then, one morning, it vanished without a trace. An unsettling feeling washed over me, a primal instinct warning me that something was amiss. And that's when I saw it, a silhouette in the darkness, a shape that shouldn't be there. I stared at it, hoping it was a figment of my imagination, but as it twitched and moved, I knew it was real. The voice, cold and inhuman, filled the room, whispering the words, "If one exists, then so does the other." A surge of terror coursed through my veins as I turned on the light, yet the unearthly figure remained, standing on twisted, unnatural legs. It lacked eyes, but I could feel its gaze piercing my soul. It moved towards me, an abomination defying logic and reason. In that moment, I realized that my quest to prove the existence of God had unleashed something far more sinister. I tried to convince myself it was a hallucination, a trick of the mind, but deep down, I knew the truth. The balance had been disrupted, and this grotesque entity was on the other side of the coin, the darkness that coexists with divinity. I had set it free, and now it roamed the world, taking on various forms, haunting the shadows. Every corner, every odd shadow seemed to hold its presence. It was a constant reminder that I had peered into the abyss and brought forth something beyond comprehension. I had unlocked a secret that should have remained hidden. Now, as I write this account, my words tremble with fear. I share my story as a warning to others, a cautionary tale of the dangers that lie within the search for absolute truth. Be wary of what you seek, for sometimes the answers we find can open doors to realms best left undisturbed. If one exists, so does the other, forever locked in a fragile balance, a balance that I inadvertently shattered.